Marhaba. You are listening to Real Voices with Miss Alissar. That's me. I am Alissar Nasser, and today we're going to talk about careers. My guest today is the charismatic Dr. Mohammed Naji, an alumnus of Al-Mawakib Garhoud, class of 2010. He is an orthodontist. He's a cosmetic dentist. He's the executive director of Liberty Medical Group. And above everything, he is one of my super precious alumni. And I love talking to you always. So welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Miss. You know how much we all love you as Al Mawakib family. And I'm very happy to be here today.
You know, I can think of so many topics I can bring you on board to discuss, because you and I have had many conversations. We've talked about so many things, whether it's at your clinic, because you're my dentist,
Yes.
or at one of the many get-togethers we have with alumni and in AMSI Voices. So I picked this one today because the few times that you've been at the AMSI Voices conferences, the students and the seniors who are listening to you were very attentive because you're young, because you're established, and yet you have a vocal opinion about careers and how to pick them and why it's okay to change them and things like that. And that inspires me, not just the kids. So today I want to talk about careers. And I know it's a big topic and there's no way we can cover everything in half an hour or 40 minutes. But I want to touch on some things. Like, Anna, for me, a major statistic that I found is that the average person changes careers 5 to 7 times in a lifetime. Can you believe that? That's incredible. Can you tell me what your thoughts are about these things?
I think this can be linked to this other research that I recently read, that usually people who are looking to establish their own business, they have to go through 9 ideas or 9 investments for one to succeed.
Oh.
And I'm assuming those 7 different jobs come from those 9 trials, that's 9 attempts.
That's even better information than this one.
So yeah.
So how do you feel about this? And I know, one of my major qualms with this is the anxiety that a lot of young people go through as they move on from high school to university. That's, still comfortable because you still have 4 years before you decide what's next, even though you're choosing a major. Then you pick a major.
Yeah.
Then you might change a major. Then you finish and you get a job.
And you might not even work in that.
So what would you say to these kids, to these young people who are trying to make sense out of what's next?
Okay.
From your perspective as a young person, you're barely now going into your 3rd decade.
Yeah.
So what would you say? How would you look at it?
The way I would look at it is, first of all, let's talk to the surrounding, to the family before we speak to those kids.
Okay.
A lot of kids are pressured with expectations, traditions, and keeping track with whatever has been established already before them or within the family. I think this is one of the most difficult things that a lot of those kids psychologically have to go through.
Well, you're one of them, and so am I.
In a way,
we went into family business, and we'll talk about that
family
later.
Business, yes. So usually, that's, I believe, parents, family, they must take it easy on these kids for various reasons, but mainly because time has changed. It's not the same anymore. Especially in, like, for example, the Arabic culture. We're obsessed with
lawyer, doctor, engineer.
And engineer. Lawyer, doctor, and engineer. I think coming from a dentist, a healthcare professional, we are past that. There's so many other careers that they can, get into, and they're not saturated, at least. Like those 3 careers are oversaturated. I know people who spend hundreds of thousands on their degree and end up getting a job for like $1,000 a month. They need at least 15, 20 years to cover at least their tuition fees, because this is the case in our region. However, today it's different. We've got social media, which did not exist 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We've got Web3, which is 2 years old, roughly. Okay.
Artificial intelligence,
all that.
cybersecurity.
And those are upcoming careers, upcoming universities. So please start looking into that, And in addition to this, those kids will be much more familiar with those because they're going to be seeing them on daily basis. But if they're going to follow the old trend, the things that their family went for or whatever has been, the best choice by, throughout history to study, I don't think they're going to like it or sustain in it or even,
Okay, I appreciate this. And this is, okay, I totally align, except for one problem. We know that a lot of kids, while we feel that this is, what we want to tell their parents, some of them will not budge. There's too much pressure, and sometimes it's tied to either you major in this or, you're on your own. So, Anna, for me, the advice I usually give these kids is, so go through it.
Exactly.
Go through it, because you go through it, you acquire that degree, try to get a job. At some point when you become financially independent, then you can do whatever you want. واصبروا على أعماركم بقول لهم على طول. It's okay if you don't get exactly what you want the same time that you think about it. It's okay if you put it on a vision board, you put it on a plan for future attainment instead of immediate attainment.
100%. And I wish, actually, I can't say I wish someone told me that. I've been told that before. But I was just a bit too stubborn that it takes time and that's normal.
Yep.
The whole concept of being successful and life is sorted out by the age of 18, this is some social media scam.
It's a scam. Scam is a good word for it.
It's a scam. There's 3-4 celebrities that we've seen them go through that, and
those YouTubers and
a lot of them are even backed up. I don't want to get into conspiracies, but a lot of them they're just part of a plan that's an advertising strategy for whatever
something
product
else,
it is.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I mean,
plan it out, take your time.
You've got I don't even want to put numbers, 30, 40. We've seen people who made it by the age of 50. A lot of concepts happen by that age. So it's fine. It's normal. You're going to try a lot of things. And the problem is I went through it. We all feel that the decision of choosing a major in university is like the biggest decision you're ever going to have to make. And let me tell you something.
It's not.
I just wish I knew how silly that was back then, because I don't know, probably 50% or 60% of the people I know don't even work with their degree.
With what they majored in. And this is, the message I want to send out about this is, for those who know what they want, more power to them. That's amazing. Yeah. If you already know what you want. I want to talk to the ones who don't know yet or haven't decided yet, and I say, that's fine.
Yeah. And
that's fine. Take your time. Do whatever you have to do to get through the first 2-3 years of uni, get a degree, and then at some point it's going to click. At some point, and it doesn't have to be at 17 when you're out of high school.
Exactly. And don't put numbers. I've heard a lot of adults talk to the younger ones, telling them, put a plan, write it down. Okay, do it, but don't put time limits on that, because you never know. You might fail once, come back again. And a lot of people, the other day I was thinking about all the advice that I got from a lot of people. And I'm happy that I got that. It was wrong a lot of times, but it was good experience. I was thinking, if I only knew as a child how little the older ones knew.
Okay, that's a good one, actually. But let's not, go overboard. A lot of us know a lot.
But let me tell you why. Because a lot of times, because that was very inhibiting for me. I believe there was so many things I could have done at a young age, but I was not underestimated, but I was kind of turned down by, don't worry, just
go with this. This is the better choice.
Exactly,
Yeah.
So,
this is very interesting, and I like the word inhibited, actually.
Yeah.
So because and I always say this when I speak, and those who listen to me know I've said the sentence a lot about adults, and I say, resist the urge to advise. I would say resist the urge to advise, and instead just listen to what your kids are saying, and listen to what they want. And try not to make your expectations their expectations. You understand? It's very difficult though,
I would
because
say
you
don't
were,
share your expectations.
yeah, even better maybe.
Don't
Okay,
share.
or keep them for you.
Yeah.
Keep them for you. صح. That's very good advice, and I think we're hearing it from you. And I'm very conscious now, more than I was when my kids were younger,
Mhm.
about these things. And I do them maybe more often than I used to. And I think it's a difficult decision for parents to step back and allow the kids to flow. But my advice to all parents is, if you do allow it, you'll be surprised by how amazing they will roll as children and grow up in front of you to embrace their adulthood way more than you think you can.
And they cannot avoid the trouble.
No.
Like whether they choose what they want or not, the struggle is there, the trouble is there. So might as well let them do it their way. If he's gonna fall, might as well let him fall on his pitch. So it's and they'll be proud at the end.
Yeah.
You would rather have a miserable son and a successful career that you chose based on a plan that you wrote, versus a happy son doing very well, or whatever he
or she wants. That's great.
So yeah, but I have a question. Well, it's been some time since I left high school, and I remember we kind of had a list of universities and a list of jobs that we can end up in. It was like 7 to 10 jobs. Has that changed?
Yeah, but we threw it out the window.
Has it changed?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's no longer like that.
Is there a list anymore? Or
it's not a list. It's generated after you say what you're interested in and what your likes are. It kind of pops up as these are the possible careers for you. It's automatic. But I do not tell kids you should restrict yourself to that. I don't like to tell them that. I go back to, if you've already got an idea what you want to do, follow through. But if you don't, anytime something triggers your interest or your curiosity, put it into a search engine and research it and see if it triggers more curiosity. Then maybe that's what you want to try to do. But I find it's rare to, and I know kids in high school are excited and I want to be a doctor and I want to be an engineer, and good for them if they want to be. But I know, like you, many kids who went in with those ideas and then 2 years later decided, no, I want to move to something else. What I want to do in this podcast is tell them that's okay.
Yeah.
And what I want to tell their
normal.
parents is, please don't scrutinize them if they decide to change. All right? But be realistic also as young people. And realistic means there's a financial issue attached to all of this. So you cannot go about bouncing from major to major and staying in university for a long time, and your parents are financing the whole ordeal.
My theory for this is, if you don't know and you're lost, just get done with whatever it is.
There you go. And exactly what I want to say.
Get a degree.
Get a degree,
and then
get a job, become financially independent, and then do whatever you want. But do not become a financial stretch on your parents.
You remember the story of how I ended up choosing dentistry, right?
Tell me.
I told you. I'll share it again just for the audience. So I was stuck between my passion, which was something related to the media. I wanted to do media, all right? Yeah. And the secured career of becoming a dentist, and that being a family business, so I had something to go to. So getting into both of them, I kind of did a summer internship in both practices, and I figured that, this is very secure. This is, also kind of nice. It has something about it, like just the position of it as a doctor and the socially in the community and all that. And this one is also fun. Like, that's something I like. So I was stuck at like almost 50-50. And my decision was based on this. If I did media, I will never become a dentist. But if I did dentistry,
I could always do media. That's incredible. That's very smart.
So
very smart.
That's how I take my decisions in life. I always go for the broader option.
Oh, and more stable.
more stable, whatever it is. But as long as like it opens up more doors, so I can always go back to media as a dentist, and that's what I'm doing now. With social media, like YouTube shows and stuff, all that. But I couldn't have been a dentist if I did only media. So another piece of advice is go with whatever is broader for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a very good advice.
And it applies,
I'm going to use it in school.
Of course.
This is very good advice.
And it works in every way, Your dad wants you to become an engineer.
Be an engineer.
And then go do your own
do
YouTube
whatever
vlogs
you want.
or whatever it is.
Or, do your gaming or do whatever. But get that degree.
Yeah.
Very nice. How do you feel about gap year? Because I hear a lot of kids talking about it. Yeah, I know, you're shaking your head. Me too.
Please.
Don't do gap year. And why? What is you want them to do?
Yeah.
No, I don't want them to do.
Sorry, we're
let's
just,
disagree on this. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Then you can tell me your opinion. For me, they're 17, huh? I don't mind a gap time in your life. It doesn't have to be a year. It can be 3 months, can be 6 months. But I find that right after high school, it's not a good time.
Sorry. I'm thinking university. I'm not thinking
after
high school.
university,
Sorry.
definitely a good time.
Yes.
Good. So we do agree.
Yeah, we agree. No,
right.
sorry.
So no, kids are talking about after high school. And I'm going, no. And my only argument to this is you do that when you do it and you're financing it. You don't do it at someone else's expense.
That's one. Plus, there's a lot of things that you can do.
No. So, you cannot travel alone. You cannot. There's a lot. So you go when you're a little bit more mature and you can actually gain experience from doing whatever you want to do during a gap time. I'm calling it gap time because year seems like too long for me to do that. This is my advice, and I know a lot of kids disagree, and they're doing their own thing, and I cannot interfere between them and their parents. But I say that postpone it until a time when you are proud enough to afford it, and second of all, appreciate it, because I think you're mistaken freedom to do whatever I want to do after high school for gap time.
Yeah, no,
and that's not the same.
Definitely not. Trust me. If anything, I encourage every person to do some gap time after university.
Yeah.
After school is kind of pointless because anyway, like it's you wouldn't be aware enough. Yes, I know it's just 4 years difference, but those 4 years will
make a difference.
Big, huge difference.
Yeah, they do.
So I would say after university, if you can afford it, a couple of months or even some off. It's I think you shouldn't miss out on that.
Yeah, I think so too. It's I think a huge contribution to your growth as a human being is learning to embrace other people in other cultures and learning about them and talking to different people from different backgrounds. And you cannot do that by staying in your own little bubble. And you need to explore other things.
Being open-minded, that's how you start establishing that. I always speak about being open-minded, not in the
I know.
Not in the cultural sense.
No. You know what? I defined it in my previous video, and I want to repeat it now because open-minded is me and you sitting at this table, knowing we have a different opinion about something and still able to maintain our relationship as two friends. That's open-minded. It's not I accept you because you're from a different religion, or I accept you because you're from... That's acceptance. Or you're from a different country or whatever. No. Open-minded is about, for me at least, and this is a very personal opinion, is about me accepting you even though I disagree with you. You understand? Me being able to maintain a relationship with you even though our opinions don't match.
And travel does that.
Yeah, it does.
You get to meet cultures and you get to sort things out for yourself in a way of a lot of stereotypical ideas that you grew up learning.
And what about how it contributes to your career choices? Does it? It can, no?
It can, especially with the modern world.
Yeah.
Like I think if I did that, unfortunately, I did not take that gap.
ماشي الحال, no regrets.
But I think if with the current time, with all the modern, things and all the online jobs and stuff, if I did that, I think I would have ended up being like a travel vlogger or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's not too late. You can still do that at some point. Maybe now you're not ready for it, but maybe at some point.
One gentleman you need to speak to before I take this decision.
Majd, if you're listening, I'm coming for you. Okay.
Because his plan is to keep me here for
so
him
that
to
he can travel.
so he can travel.
He sacrificed a lot. This is another guilt trip we need to get out of family relations.
Oh,
I know,
yes.
Yeah, we all have it in the Arab world, and we need to come out of this mentality.
Yes.
So remember that when one day you have your own children. I'm trying to do this now with my children, and I subscribe to أولادكم ليسوا لكم. Your children are not yours.
Yeah.
All right, so career-wise, I majored in engineering. And then down the line, I decided I don't want to be an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I finished, though. I graduated. I'm an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be an engineer. What do I do? What's next for me? And you can replace the word engineer with anything right here.
In my opinion, if you have the luxury or the
financial
support to just leave it, go ahead and pursue whatever it is that you want. If not, then
get a job.
Make
some money.
This is the hand that you've been dealt. Take it, get some money. You're going to have to, suck it up for a couple of years. Do it. It's not always, what we want.
Until you're ready and you know more what you want.
And then you take it from there. But there's no other way around. And by the way, I know a lot of successful people in their industries who started off like that. They had to do that ugly job for, 7-10 years until they managed to find. And sometimes, by the way, it's not just money that they need to save up. They need the right connections. They need the right, I always say this, if it wasn't for me being in the clinic, I would have never met this much people in the media industry.
There you go.
Even if I worked in a TV channel, I am sure, I'm positive, I wouldn't have met this many people in the media industry, which opened up a lot of doors.
Yep.
So, things...
You never know. This goes down to never know, because I always, building on what you're saying, I would say you went through engineering, you don't like it, and then suddenly when you start working as an engineer, because look, studying something in university, a certain discipline in university, you might not like it. And then when you get into the field, you'll discover a renewed, it's different when you're in the field. So my advice would be give it a chance before you give up on it.
Exactly.
And there's this shift between careers is very much a daily event now in our lives. Every day I know at least 1 or 2 or 3 people who decided to go from wherever they did to whatever they're doing now, which are 2 different things.
Yeah. The other day, speaking of this, I had a panel in an event talking about similar subjects, with the modern jobs and all that. And this gentleman who's almost, in his 50s or 60s, his name's Juan from Mexico, was on the panel with us. And he told us a very interesting story about doing something that you don't want. He was like, but it went the other way around for him. So it was like, I had my dream life, my dream job and all that, but I couldn't, not his dream job, but he had the dream life. So he was doing something, he was doing so well at it. And he was living in Los Angeles. He had his beautiful convertible, house by the, by the water and all that. And things went, south for him. And he lost everything. And then he was forced to work in Apple Store for a while at the age of 50 something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was the only job he managed to get. So this guy had, I think, engineering company or consultancy or something like that. But his passion, his free time, he would paint. He was a painter.
Okay.
Which is something he never pursued because he never had the time. He was doing so well at his job. So when he lost everything, he had to work at the Apple Store selling laptops and stuff. And then this one day he was at the store, this client came in and he was like asking him about the computers and all that. He was explaining about this and that to him. And then he was like, so how come you're here? Like everyone else looks much younger. It's like, I've been through this and stuff. But, I've always had this passion for painting and I was really hoping that one day I can do this now that I have nothing to lose anymore. He was like, oh, interesting. Show me what you do. I was like, he showed him some paintings. And then this man was like, oh, okay, nice. I think we should get in contact with you when I go back to Dubai. He was in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
When I go back to Dubai, we should get in contact and stuff. I think I can help you out with something.
Oh, wow.
And then that gentleman turned out to be Mohammed Al-Abbar.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
This is a true story.
True story.
That's awesome.
And then it turned out to be Mohammed Al-Abbar. Came back to Dubai. He reached out to him and got his paintings displayed on Burj Khalifa.
Oh my goodness.
You see the arts on Burj Khalifa?
Yes.
Some of those arts were created by this gentleman. And now he has like a small store in the Burj store downstairs where they sell all those, souvenirs and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where he sells his art. And
well,
his
we
art
all need to go visit him.
and his art is being displayed on Burj Khalifa.
Wow.
So I told him, I was like, if you did not lose everything, you would have never reached your passion.
Your passion.
Yeah.
And look at that. It has no age limit, huh?
Yeah.
This is another thing, this sentence that we keep repeating, which is صبر على عمرك روق على مهلك ليش مستعجلين. Why you want to get everything done on the spot. Take your time. Enjoy the process. And, my father came to the UAE when he was almost 40. Imagine. So he started actually, thinking about Mawakib when he was 43.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 43, 44, he built the first Mawakib. So he didn't really get going till he was maybe in his late 50s or early 60s. And look where we are now. So it is not age-centric, the choice of career or the success, which I contribute always to having a clear conscience, not to a monetary thing.
Mm-hmm.
And happiness and being satisfied and qana'a, waking up in the morning and knowing, I'm living the life I want to live. I'm grateful and I'm fine. And that's what you want. You want to wake up grateful for what you have and open to being kind and compassionate to offer others to become as grateful as you. So that's a great story. I love it.
Yeah.
This Mohammed Al-Abbar is quite the man, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very interesting one.
I bet you if you research a lot, Mohammed, I bet you can hear so many of these stories. So many of people.
Movies, stories,
of people who get, it's a moment that changes your life. Yeah. A moment when you meet someone, a moment when you discover this is what I want.
And trust
it's
me,
a moment.
After some time, I realized that I've had a couple of those moments in my life. And after some time, I realized you don't even have to look for them.
Then they come to you, no?
Don't, because you cannot look like, what are you going to look for? You don't know what might happen. They just come.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so just do what's there.
All right. So now you're in your early 30s.
Yeah.
What's next, career-wise for you? Majd, turn off the radio.
Yeah.
What's
next for me? I've been really getting into Web3.
Ay caramba.
Yeah.
This is still very mysterious to me, but I know that this is the next step.
I've been getting into the Web3 a lot. I like what's been going on. You know why? Because I met a friend the other day who's in his, late 40s. And he's like, if I only listened to them when they told me about www.
In those
20 years ago back.
Yeah.
He had a chance to, I don't know what was the case back then, but he had a chance to invest in something like that, which would have been worth billions now.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, what, really? Who's going to do that? All the information we need, we can call the call center. We had, remember, 181 in Dubai, I think, or something like that.
You can find it.
Yeah, we can find it. We can, we have the yellow pages.
Boy, was he wrong.
Oh, yeah. So that's exactly what I hear a lot nowadays from, everyone talking about Bitcoin and Web3. Like a lot of people are making fun of that.
Well, I had that Gary V. I attended.
I was with you.
Yeah, and for sure. The guy is onto something, and
it's going there.
You were listening, so good for you.
So I want my kids one day to say that my dad was open-minded.
Very smart, actually. Yeah. Actually, that's good advice too.
Because now a lot of my friends say, only if my dad bought this land or only if he invested in this website. He had the chance to do it for nothing, but he didn't. So I don't want my kids to say that.
Very smart. Actually, that's very good advice too.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is I should listen to my children and what they're interested in and go with the flow of that as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I do. Funny enough, I've had conversations recently with Ziad a lot because he's here on his internship, and he does give ideas.
Yeah.
And he opens my mind up to
Of course.
new options. Hala, the same. يعني it's Omar is in Holland شوي بعيد بس the two that are here, yeah. It's very smart to tell parents, listen. How the bottom line goes back to listen. Listen, listen with an intention to hear, not listen with the intention of I'm listening.
And the world is changing.
Yeah.
You cannot, every 20, 30 years, the person just needs to lay back and give others the chance. And it's most likely their way is the way to work. And I'm preparing myself for that, to do my kids a favor. Because one day I know I'm going to be stubborn with my old thoughts because they worked. The previous way worked.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean it's going to work again for this generation. So I'm trying my best to prepare myself for that. That one day they're going to come up to me. And by the way, for everyone listening, I don't have kids. I'm just...
Inshallah,
I'm just thinking. I'm preparing myself to accept it. And remember, we once discussed this. I believe a lot of the older generation, let's call it, need to have like a center to kind of re-educate them on the modern things. Yeah. And I would definitely sign up for that in the future because I know for sure I won't know how to use whatever's coming after Web3. I'm preparing myself for that. I want to know that one day my kids will come up to me with ideas that will make no sense to me.
Yes. Oh, that's intelligent the way you're phrasing that.
They'll make no sense to me, but I need to know that at that time, they are more likely to...
And more knowledgeable
yes. And
genius. I love this.
Yes, and you can create a better future by making their life easier by not resisting.
Yes. Okay, You know what? Nada bin Ghalib was in a previous podcast with me about parenting, and she said that. She said it, and I loved it. She said it in a way that was... we need to understand that now with our... her with her children, me with my children, we are in a place where we know a lot more than you. Listen to us. Yeah. But there will come a time in the next few years where you will be in the position where we have to listen to you.
Exactly.
Because we will be the older ones.
Exactly.
And look at that. From that, simple parenting perspective to a much higher order of thinking into classifying it as don't resist. Train your mind not to resist.
Prepare yourself because it's not easy.
That's very smart, Mohammed. And I think you're onto something here because this could be something that becomes like a movement of, how do we train our minds, kilna, as we grow older, to become less resistant to people's ideas who are younger.
Because you're going to be resisting something that worked already. Because when I'm going against my child, telling him, no, that's the wrong way because I did the other way and it worked. It's very difficult, because you're recreating the wheel. So I think we just need to make it easier for them. Plus, a lot of children might have this...
and struggle. A fire and a struggle.
And at the same time, they don't want to feel that, okay, I'm going to go against my parents' will. Don't put them in that zone.
So it's not us versus them. It shouldn't be. And it's our responsibility as the adults here to take the high road and not make the younger generation feel that they always have to fight to get their point across.
Exactly, 100%. Okay.
I have a list of possible careers for the future, and I'm sure there are tens of careers that haven't been even invented yet that we're going to know about in the next 10 years. So some of the emerging fields, there's something now called gig economy. You've heard of this? So this is gig economy. So these are a percentage of the population is now on gig economy, which means they're mostly into freelancing. So that means they do jobs and move on. So it's not a 9-to-5, it's not a contract, it's a gig, right?
Love it.
So gig economy is on the rise. Like, I don't know the stats for this area, but in the US, it's up 36%. 36%.
I mean, who wouldn't want that?
But if it's sustainable. The other thing is, it has to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So renewable energy, of course, emerging field, sustainable development, emerging data science. And this is where I know, don't shake your head, but it's very important being able to analyze and give valuable insight into what's going. So data science is very big. Cybersecurity, of course. Artificial intelligence. Yeah, mama.
And everything under that,
anything that goes
coding,
under
etc.
But it's not standalone though, because almost every field that I've just mentioned has to be coupled with some soft skills, has to have innovation, has to have creativity, has to have adaptability. You have to be able
Arts,
to
design,
adapt
all that,
to every
yeah.
different change that comes at you. And changes are coming at you right now way faster than they used to, right?
Yeah.
The Internet of Things, oof, big Gary Vee talked a lot about that. Blockchain technology.
Yeah, agreed.
Augmented reality, virtual reality, biotechnology, genetic engineering. These are things that are emerging that I want our kids to learn more about, whether they get into them or not, but they are the wave of the future.
And other interesting careers that might be common but not in our region.
Masalan.
I think Omar is doing sports management.
Ziad wants to do sports management in his
sports
masters.
management.
Yeah,
That's very big in Europe, probably because they have the teams and the clubs and all that. But why isn't anyone doing it here?
Maybe we don't have the teams and the clubs because we don't have it.
We do have the teams and the clubs,
but we don't have sports management. We import them.
We import them. Yeah, or hire someone that has some kind of similar degree,
Well, things like what we're doing right now, sound engineering.
There's plenty of things.
We have to start presenting options to kids that go outside the normal box of options.
Yeah. And that's why I asked you about the options we had when we were back in school.
No,
I remember it was
I think it's mute now because also keep in mind, and I say this to the kids, stop counting on others to tell you what you can do or what's next or where you're going to go. Ask me and I'll answer you. Otherwise, everything is in front of you. You have so many possibilities to source your information. Go source it.
I have a question regarding this.
Aye.
And we see a lot of young kids now with a lot of modern ways are making a crazy amount of money at a very young age. Gaming, NFT, YouTube, etc. And a lot of them just, take a step back and go like, why am I even going on with the university? Like if I'm going to graduate, get a job, it's going to take me at least 10 years to make the amount of money that I made last month by salary. And because I was stuck in a real dilemma the other day, I had this discussion with one of those kids.
So what do you say to them?
Would you encourage them to carry on?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell me why.
Why?
Because I don't think university is only about getting a degree, right?
Experience.
It's discipline. It's making new friends. It's building relations. It's finding out what else is out there. So the target is not to just breed you into becoming a monetized job employee. It's the same thing I think about school. Academia is fantastic. It's added value, though, to what I think defines education, which is the social experience.
Yeah, exactly.
But then that social experience, when you become 17, 18 and you go into university, it transforms into a different kind of experience that you need to go through. And I think it's helpful to go through it, to build your friendships, to discipline, to commit to classes. These are skills and characteristics you build because you've committed to this time in this institution. It's not about the degree. It's about learning to wash your own socks. It's about balancing your own bank account. It's about deciding your travel plans to suit the family holiday. It's
Social
about,
skills,
financial know-how. It's about knowing how to act around this group of people versus that group of people. These are things you learn as you grow up. So why not learn them in an environment where it is demanding that you are committed, that you are disciplined, that you choose something and embrace the outcomes of your choices?
That's a very good answer. And I'm going to cut this part and share it because I very often get this question from a lot of people, especially in Dubai. You see a lot of those kids online and stuff.
Yeah, and I tell them stop thinking of university as the purpose is to finish it and get a job. Think of it as 4 years of
a social experience.
Big time. An extended social experience to the one you got in high school.
Nice.
Okay.
Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Mohammed, as always, And we're going to have many more of these conversations
Yes, for
because
sure.
I love the karak in your dentist's office. So
By the way, Miss Alissar's appointment is the only appointment that's booked for 2 hours every time she comes. Usually it's a 1 hour slot. Miss Alissar gets 2 because the first one is a chat and the second one is a dental work. So, yeah,
and
always a great time.
You performed a miracle on my teeth. Everybody knows. So thank you very much for being with
You're
me today.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me as well.
You're not only charismatic, but very precious.
Thank you.
And, the list of adjectives had so many more I could give to you, but, we'll stop at this one.
I truly appreciate it. And thank you very much for doing this. A lot of people need it and a lot of people will make use of it in the future.
Inshallah. I hope so.
Inshallah.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.